just mentioned that a buddy who played a long time in a league texted me, is listening, and he said maybe team charters have changed since when he played, but hard for me to imagine anyone would get that S-faced on a team charter to try that on a flight attendant. Most of the time, you had the same crew every flight. You have owners and coaches in the first class, players next, then you have support staff, scouts, internal media in the back. There'll be plenty of witnesses. That's why I say I defer to the witnesses,
right?
Whoever they are, players, other team personnel, flight personnel. It's hard for me to imagine that scenario, but maybe it happened. And if it did happen, get rid of them.
Yeah,
for sure.
But whoever that is probably correct. Most charters are probably like that, but this one could have been a little different.
It could have.
Where was this one heading to?
London.
Yeah,
this one was to London.
It's a longer flight.
Yeah, they were serving 2 meals. I mean,
longer flight.
More time to get hammered.
8-hour flight.
But there's a long flight. If you go from East Coast to West Coast, those happen, right?
Yeah.
Well, how long is that? 5-6 hour flight?
Yeah. Look, like I said, it could be a complete fabrication. It also could be true.
It could be true.
That's why they're going to investigate.
Just like my eyebrows were raised with the Scotty Scheffler incident. I think most of our eyebrows are raised. When that came out, you were like, that doesn't make sense.
Doesn't sound
well,
right.
once I heard the
right.
cop, he just sounded like an overeager cop. And I'm not even sure if that's the arresting cop.
It wasn't even the cop.
But just the attitude. He's going to jail.
Well, this the whole notion that he attached himself to the car or something, or the whole thing sounded...
It seems sketchy.
Yes.
This one seems less sketchy to me, seems more common.
I mean, in a general sense of
and
guys,
whether he's a kicker or a corner, defensive back, quarterback, defensive lineman, that doesn't. You can make fun
of me for that,
well, see,
and that's fair.
Matter to me.
This is what I think about it. But it's one thing if a woman or 2 women say that this happened in a bar room, restaurant, in a restaurant, or in a bathroom where there's nobody watching.
Right.
There are 100 people on this flight.
Exactly.
So if it happened, there's going to be witnesses.
Exactly.
So why would they make it up? So. Why would they make it up if they know there's 100 people watching this?
I don't know. People make up stuff all the time. I don't know.
I get it. And again, I'm not saying that she's right and he's wrong. I'm not saying that. But it just seems like if you're going to make up a story like that and you know nothing happened, you got 150 people saying she's crazy.
Yeah, maybe they're dumb. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Although they have each other as witnesses.
Or it happened, yeah. Or it actually happened, and the witnesses will say, yeah, you know what? He was hammered, and or I saw him rub up against her.
Yep.
Or just had, NFL player entitlement. He thinks because he's an NFL player, he can get away with anything.
Most guys that I've met aren't like that, but sure, maybe they are like that. The guy, I think a lot of times these athletes get a bad rap. These guys are nice. They do charity.
I agree with you on the majority, but this is one guy.
It's possible. It's possible. You always side with the accuser. I'm not siding with.
I'm not siding with either one.
No, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about JP.
I can see.
I don't always side with the accuser. What I said is, and I said it a few times.
Yeah.
Within the realm of possibility is it's a complete fabrication, but there's also it could be completely true.
I agree with that.
We're not talking. We're not talking about the underlying issue here. I mean,
which is
not about the accusations and everything, but this has been a problem position on the team for years, and seemingly it got fixed with a new regime, and now you got to go out and refix a problem position
potentially. You think?
I think that
for sure he's cut.
I think that seeps into people's thoughts about the idea because no one wants to go out there and have to deal with finding another Joey Sly. I think.
So you're assuming they're going to cut him?
I assume that this ownership and this ownership realizes the problem that the previous regime had with sexual harassment and understands what was going on, and that they're just not even going to deal with the headache.
I hadn't even thought about it from that angle. That this is just another sexual harassment scandal, potentially even fair or unfair.
I'm not saying
caught up.
It could be unfair. It could be unfair to him, but he needs to.
I hadn't thought about it in that sense. You might be right. I hadn't thought about it that way.
And the fact that this position has been a team need, it feels like for a decade.
Well, when they cut the kid that went out to San Diego, I hated that.
Yeah, because he ended up having a good year.
That was stupid.
He's still there too, isn't he?
I think so. I forget his name. It wasn't Hopkins. What was it?
Yeah.
Was
Dustin Hopkins?
Yeah, that is his name. Yeah. We'll see. But
I think people haven't really scratched that underlying thing that this team has has a stigma.
I mean,
Actually,
is it that hard?
Hopkins was with Cleveland last year.
Is it that
My mistake.
hard to find a competent kicker? I guess it is.
It's been hard for this franchise, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean,
but Hopkins was here for a while.
He was.
And he was pretty good.
He was. He just had a little.
I know he had
bad stretch.
Yeah, he had some missed
and
kicks.
And then they let him go.
The one in when they went overseas.
But kickers do that. They have little bad stretches.
But McManus was going to be kind of a strength to their special teams because he's legit. And he's good. He's accurate.
I guess I hadn't really thought about him
accurate.
that much. Yeah, I just hadn't thought about him that much.
But it'll be interesting to see how the team reacts to this. Obviously, they're going to investigate it. But and again, I don't know what happened. I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
Could they be making it up? Of course.
You know how sometimes though you hear stories and you go, well, you try to play it out in your mind like we all are. That's a ballsy thing to do. But I guess if you're under the influence, or if you, like JP is postulating, you're an entitled athlete, you think you can just grope anybody that moves. Most of the guys I've met aren't like that.
Of course, most aren't.
Yeah.
99% aren't.
Rare.
But there are gropers. We can't fathom why people murder people.
Yeah, I know.
But they're murderers.
I know, but
you can't fathom people that would try and rob a bank.
Yeah.
But there are people that try and rob banks.
I know, but this is not like some guy on Skid Row.
Why are you defending him so much?
Because it sounds.
You don't know anything about him.
I know nothing
about him. You just know that
he's
a kicker, so you can't put it in your head that he could do something stupid.
Because it seems a little implausible to me, the whole scenario, the whole dynamic. Just like my buddy said, team chart. It's like he put it this way. He said, if that happened, this guy played in the league 10 years. It would be a first. That there was that kind of carrying on the team charter.
He doesn't have to be drunk. He can just be horny.
Okay.
Yeah, but
you're right.
Things happen.
I don't disagree.
Look, I mean, we didn't know that there were sex boats until we were told there was a sex boat, right?
Yeah, of course. That's a little bit different. But sure. It could
NFL players
easily could have happened. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to play it out in my mind. This sort of party atmosphere on a team charter.
It doesn't have to be a party atmosphere.
It doesn't have to be a
party
party
at all.
I read
it, if you're
he could just be a perv. He could just be a perv in the.
It didn't sound like
ILC.
one guy by himself. That's not what it sounded like to me. It sounded like multiple teammates were carrying on, and they were paying $100 for dances. Did you guys read the allegations?
That's what it said. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounded like more than one guy, not like just a guy horny copping a feel.
Yeah,
but maybe he was the only one that was physically touching
a group of them sitting around in the back seat, making sexual jokes to a flight attendant.
Okay, it's definitely possible.
Well, that's
not saying it's impossible.
That's why the Jaguars are involved in the lawsuit, because the flight attendants see them as liable for letting this happen.
By the way, they might have been drinking.
They didn't stop it.
The way I read it,
sure.
I don't know if anybody was actually like the flight attendants dancing, because the way that I read it was
they recruited several flight attendants.
They alleged the flight quickly turned into a party as McManus and several other players disregarded the flight attendants' personal space, air travel safety, and federal law.
Right.
This is according to the lawsuit.
It turned into a party. See, that's the scenario I'm finding hard to
party might be the guys are drinking in the back. Right. So a couple guys drink in the back. They see some girls and they have $100 and they say, "Will you dance for us?" None of them may have danced. Might have been zero dancing.
My understanding is they recruited some other flight attendants. It wasn't just these two.
I know, but they might have all said no.
They might have.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So common sense tells you if the girls are going to make up a story like this, they have to have the other flight attendants
on their side.
Hope, because
they're smart.
They're accusing him of trying to get them to dance.
I know.
And they may say, "What is she talking about?"
Right. Well, let's see.
I know.
They have
it's an investigation.
If they have the witnesses, then they'll say he's in deep doo-doo. He's a deep doo-doo.
But if the other flight attendants go, "No, it was a quiet flight. I mean, I don't know what they're talking about," then obviously,
Or what if the other witnesses say they were flirting with the players?
I guess that's possible.
Possible.
Right.
It's possible. We don't know. Did any of us know that Bill Cosby was a creep?
Well, turns out everybody in Hollywood's a creep. But I didn't know that. No, correct. I did not know that.
I mean, you just don't know.
If Brandon McManus...
And not everybody in Hollywood's a creep. I know that you like to say that.
If he was an actor, would you believe this?
More likely.
Come on.
Yeah.
You're just falling into stereotypes.
Okay.
Again,
Nobody knows.
You like to believe all the accusations.
No, absolutely not.
I'm just saying.
It's just I find it
very possible.
You're overly defensive of him, of a guy involved in like a personal situation here. And you don't.
You
know
do
anything.
not read.
Are you anti-flight attendants?
No, not at all.
Don't you have a sister-in-law who's a flight attendant?
Used to be. I'm not anti anything. I'm just telling you.
You
guys have opinions when you read stories. I read this story, and to you, it seemed perfectly plausible. When I read it, I thought, I don't know
think
if
it's
this
plausible.
makes sense.
You think they're liars.
I don't know if it makes sense.
You think that the two women are liars.
Possibly. I don't know
I'll
if
agree
it
that
makes
it's possible.
sense.
They could be.
But if they're not liars, then it's possible that he's a creep.
Definitely possible. I'm not saying it's out of. I'm not allowed to think that. You have a perception. You read it and you go, that seems plausible to you. I read it and I go, I don't know if I'm buying that. But that's all. It's just my perception.
And on the football side,
happen. Doesn't mean that guys don't grope women.
It would seem like it would be easy to prove because there's so many people in such a small place.
And I defer to the witnesses.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
When it all comes out, they should be set. They should be golden. If they go by Jason's theory,
doesn't that make sense?
Sure. Jason's theory is these women are idiots if they're going to file this charge knowing that they have a bunch of witnesses that are going to say it didn't happen.
Right, that the flight was quiet, that there was no partying on the.
Or what if they say?
And the other 3 flight attendants have to be in cahoots with them. Yeah, they were trying to get us to dance. It was no big deal.
Right.
But if they did say that,
hard. Like if you're part of a jury, like he might have teammates who lie on his behalf, and they may have people that lie on their behalf.
I totally
agree. And the definition of party, who knows? Like they say, partying could be 2-3 guys drinking in the back.
Well, when I
getting
read
a little
it,
rowdy.
on my home this weekend, I read the party word, so I thought about a party on a plane. I mean, guys celebrate on planes.
Sure. I didn't picture partying like music and dancing. I pictured a couple drunkards in the back hollering. That's what I pictured.
Yeah. Let's let the evidence play out. Let's hear it. You guys are ready to convict. I'm not ready to convict yet.
Did I ever say that?
None of us did.
I am not ready to convict him.
Yeah.
I just think it would be kind of an easy case to prove.
I think it'd also be an easy case to disprove with witnesses.
I don't think it's that easy of a case.
That's what I mean.
I don't think it's that easy of a case to prove because, when you have a rape, they have a rape kit and there's physical evidence. Here, you may have no physical evidence.
No, you don't have physical evidence.
Literally, you would have
visual evidence.
It's also, I'll be honest with you, it is hard for me to imagine a guy rubbing himself up against, like a guy on a team with all his teammates, all his bosses, like rubbing up against a woman. It's really hard for me to imagine that, but sure, it happens.
Is it hard to imagine the flight attendant? Let's say he's sitting in is this hard to imagine? And this can be the definition of rubbing against, I don't know.
Yeah.
She's there standing up. He's drunk. He's sitting down in his seat. And he says something like, hey, baby, come over here, and grabs her and puts her on his lap. Is that hard to imagine?
I saw Cakes do it at a strip club, so anything's possible.
Have you ever been to an office Christmas party?
Yep.
Happens all the time. Guys drink alcohol, act like bozos in front of their bosses.
All right. How many times does it happen on a team flight?
They're all drinking, getting hammered?
Well, who said they're getting hammered? I don't believe guys get hammered on team flights to games. I don't even think that's a thing.
Well, if they're going over on a Wednesday or something like that, who knows?
I don't really even think that's a thing. But maybe it is, and I'm completely ignorant. Now, I think if you win the Super Bowl, and you're flying back.
This was on the way to London.
This is on the way to a game. I'm calling shenanigans on a party on a plane, which is what it was reported as.
They could have been.
My eyebrows are raised.
But they could have been over-exaggerating party on the plane.
But you think the plane is like every single passenger is bumping and grinding and throwing their hands in the air.
No.
Like it's a disco.
When you say there's a party, the flight attendants are describing it as a party.
You think it's Soul Plane.
Maybe. What I envision when you say a party is guys carrying on, like Jason, they're all doing gummies and they're getting excited for their trip to the Pebble.
I didn't do any gummies.
That's what I envision when you say a party on a plane.
I think that
I've partied on a plane before and had to pee before it even took off.
If the Commanders cut him, I think they probably found out something that was truthful about their testimony.
I disagree with that. The Bills cut the punter, and he was fully exonerated.
Yeah, I understand.
They just might not want to be associated with it.
I'm not saying it's impossible.
They might just say, listen, we can't deal with this. Good luck to you.
It just looks bad for our team. It's a bad reputation.
We got this. Yeah, we can't deal with this. I'm sorry that this happened to you.
It just seems like
good luck to you. See, you wouldn't want to be you.
It just seems like you got to be a lunatic if you're a flight attendant and the plane was completely quiet. There weren't anybody getting drunk. These other flight attendants weren't asked to dance, and you make that whole story up. You just got. It also
seemed like a complete.
You got to be a lunatic
if you're a player grinding up on a flight attendant.
Yeah.
On a team flight.
Of course.
With your bosses everywhere.
It's a high risk. It's a high risk move.
That does seem crazy.
She's got specifics though. She says McManus tried to kiss her while she was seated during turbulence.
Right.
And he also allegedly grinded up against her not once but twice while she was serving food and drinks.
That's my point.
See, that's what I think is a little more plausible.
My point, JP,
she's serving the food and drinks, and he does a little reach around or something.
Hold on. My point is, someone would, if she is sitting in a seat during turbulence and he tries to kiss her, someone's going to see that.
I would think.
Someone is going to see it.
I would think.
I don't know.
Now, maybe they're going to lie and say I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But someone is going to see that.